No guts, Goodson.
Yeah. You know, only when it came right down to it, I just wasn't attracted to him.
Should never stop you.
He seemed too big.
He could have worked out.
I figured I would have gotten into trouble somehow.
God, sometimes you gotta say, what the fuck? Make your move.
That's easy for you to say.
Mode 1.
I mean, you're all set. You're probably going to Harvard. Me, I don't want to make a mistake. Jeopardize my future.
Joel, you wanna know something?
What?
Every now and then, say what the fuck. What the fuck gives you freedom? Freedom brings opportunity. Opportunity makes your future.
Miles.
Be right there. So your folks are going out of town.
Tomorrow.
You got the place all to yourself?
Yeah?
What the fuck? If you can't say it, you can't do it.
Look in the mirror. Paper towels, a clean cab, limo company someday. How much you got saved?
That ain't none of your business.
Someday my dream will come. One night you'll wake up and you'll discover it never happened. It's all turned around on you. It never will. Suddenly you are old. It didn't happen. And it never will because you were never going to do it anyway. You're pushing in a memory that zone out in your Barco lounger, being hypnotized by daytime TV for the rest of your life. So don't you talk to me about murder. And all it ever took was a down payment on a Lincoln Town car. That girl, you can't even call that girl. What the fuck are you still doing driving a cab?
Well. I'm back after a 2-week layoff from YouTube and after just under a 1-week layoff from my Patreon subscribers. For those of you who don't know, last week I was hospitalized practically the whole entire week. I went in the hospital, emergency room, a week ago Saturday, and it was determined that I had a highly infected and ruptured gallbladder. And they decided to do surgery. Initially, it was going to be what's known as laparoscopic surgery, where they just make 4 small incisions and kind of suck out your gallbladder. But mine was in such bad shape that they had to open me up. Yeah, they had to open me up. So now I got like a 6 to 8 inch scar on my stomach because they removed my gallbladder. And speaking of that, I want to give kudos and express gratitude and appreciation for just about all of my Patreon subscribers. I had some Patreon subscribers that literally checked in with me, if not every day, every other day, to see how I was doing. And that really meant a lot to me. I'll be honest, that touched me. Yeah, I had a group of Patreon subscribers that, yeah, they touched base with me pretty much like every other day. Some of them every day to see how I was doing. And I'm very thankful and appreciative of that. So kudos to you. It's funny doing this YouTube thing and you end up creating all these internet-based friendships or so-called friendships. And the reason why I say so-called is because I don't want to go on a long tangent, but, you know, most of us have had experiences in our life when we've experienced some unexpected episode of adversity. And if nothing else, sometimes that tends to reveal who's really thinking about you and who's really not. I'll give an analogy. If you're a professional athlete, fans are always going to love you and adore you when you're healthy and they feel like you can play in the game and help their favorite team win. They're going to always, you know, cheer for you and tell you that they love you. But what about if you break your ankle, break your arm, or have some type of other health-related ailment? Some of those athletes' fans are going to be genuinely concerned about him, not for selfish reasons because they see the athlete as someone who can help their team, but they're genuinely concerned about that person as a human being. They want to know that that person is genuinely, you know, recovering better. Then you have other fans that athlete would never hear from while he's in the hospital or while he's recovering from some ailment or surgery. And same here, man. I don't want to, you know, take jabs at people. I definitely won't by name, but it was interesting. Over the last 2 weeks, there's at least a handful of people that I didn't expect to hear from, that I didn't even know knew I was hospitalized, that I did hear from, and I was pleased to hear from those gentlemen. And you know who you are. Much love and respect to you. But then there's other people, some guys, even a handful of my Patreon subscribers, who I would hear from these guys once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week when things are going well with me. But all of a sudden, you know, I'm on my back in the hospital for a week. I ain't heard from none of them dudes. Still ain't. And with some of my YouTube, people who are YouTube followers of mine, but not Patreon subscribers, I give you halfway pass because a lot of you all genuinely might not have known. But if you're a Patreon subscriber of mine, and I didn't hear from you not once in the last 2 weeks, that's saying something. Because all my Patreons, I mean, I made announcements on my Patreon page that I was hospitalized. So if somebody's a Patreon subscriber of mine, and I'm not saying you were obligated to send me a get well message or anything. I'm not saying that at all. But I just find it surprising with probably at least 10 to 15 guys that I hear from them once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week when things are going well, but I didn't hear from them at all while I was hospitalized. Such is life. Now, did you see how I edited that intro? If I say so myself, that was a little clever intro. Why? Because it featured 2 classic scenes from 2 of my favorite movies. One was from Risky Business. I think Risky Business came out, I want to say, in 1983. Either 1983 or 1984. I can't remember now. I think it was 1983. Yeah, Risky Business was known as a coming-of-age movie. What is a coming-of-age movie? Is a movie, there's been generations of them, where that shows a guy that's usually 15, 16, 17, transitioning into the period of young adulthood. Young adulthood. So that's what's known as a coming-of-age movie. It's a movie where the central character is usually no younger than 14 and no older than, I would say, 17 or 18. And he's transitioning into young adulthood. And for my generation, I would rank Risky Business, if not number one, at bare minimum, in the top 3 best coming of age movies I watched. Yeah, I was actually one of the first movies I watched as many as 4 times at the movie theater. Yeah, I saw that movie 4 times. That was the first movie I ever saw 4 times at the movie theater. It was Risky Business. But in that scene, as you saw, his friend Miles was telling him, you can't overthink stuff. Sometimes you just got to say, what the fuck? And just do it. Take action. Just do it. What the fuck? What the fuck? See, when you and you're back in the hospital and you're 56 years old like I am, inevitably you find yourself reflecting. What bold risk have I taken? And I'm thankful that I did. But on the downside, what actions did I avoid taking because of some unwarranted fear? Because of some egotistical insecurity? Because of some invalid belief? Because of some negative attitude? Ask yourself that. And then if I transition into a clip where that same actor, Tom Cruise, is essentially, even though he's a criminal in the movie Collateral, if most people know my reputation as a movie buff, I've seen Collateral more times than any other movie, like literally in movie history. Seriously, yeah, I've seen Collateral. If you're talking about a combination of number of times I saw it at the movie theater, number of times I saw it on cable TV, and number of times I saw it on DVD, combined together, I've seen Collateral somewhere between 95 to 100 times. Yep, I've seen Collateral somewhere between 95 to 100 times. And in that particular scene where Tom Cruise is breaking down to Jamie Foxx, Jamie Foxx is a cab driver who has aspirations of being owning his own limousine company, but he hasn't really taken the first move to fulfill his dream. And Tom Cruise is essentially asking, why not? Why the fuck you still driving a cab? 12 years. Why the fuck you been driving a cab for 12 years? Somebody might be sitting at home watching me right now saying, man, I meant to lose 25 to 50 pounds this year. What stopped you? Somebody might be listening to me right now and say, I meant to go back to school, pick up a degree. Why haven't you? Somebody might be listening to me and say, the geographical area that I reside in right now has not really been fulfilling for me, professionally or personally. I need to move to a new city, new state, maybe new country. Why haven't you? You're more in line with my work. What if there's a woman that keeps coming in the same coffee shop that you go to? Lives in your neighborhood, lives in your apartment building, and you know you're attracted to her. You know you want to approach her, but you haven't. Why haven't you? There's one thing guaranteed in life is that tomorrow is never promised to you. I don't take any day for granted. I don't take any day for granted. You could walk out tomorrow from your house and get hit by a bus. There's a lot of crazy people in the world today. Mass shooters. You can get shot. I know people in the Chicago area went into a Walmart doing to get something real quick, like some consumer items from Walmart, and some mass murderer went in Walmart and just shot up some people. Come on, man. What you doing? Really? Like, what you doing? It's holding you back. I don't know what my future is on YouTube. Honestly, I'll confess, I'm not really thoroughly knowledgeable about all these changes that are proposing to take place beginning with January 1st of 2020. I know one change I was forced to make is that I have to mark all of my videos not for children. And not that any of my video content has ever been geared towards anybody that's 17 years of age or younger. But even though realistically, I do have some male fans, followers, supporters who are 15, 16, 17. Like, I know there was a guy in London, wrote me a few emails a few years back. He was a junior in high school in London. I don't know what that means now that I got a mark. I've heard some videos talking about they're going to cut down on videos with a lot of profanity. I got a potty mouth. So I'll just say there's at least a 50% chance I might not be continuing on YouTube next calendar year. I'll be continuing doing videos to my Patreon page for sure. My Patreon page will continue. So no changes there. But as far as my free YouTube content, I don't know what I'll be doing in 2020. Examine things over the next 4 to 5 weeks. See how things go. All right. In my Patreon exclusive portion today, what I want to talk about is the importance of striving for authenticity. For those of you who really read Mo 1, really read it, absorbed it at its core. So on the surface, I've always said this multiple times, Mo 1 seems like a book that's about simply how to get laid, and even more specifically, how to get laid as quickly as possible. That's not really what Mo 1 is about. And most people who just browse through the book, or if they have the audiobook, kind of skip through different parts, that's what most people miss. Mo 1 is not a get laid quick book. Mo 1, at its ultimate core, is a book about challenging yourself to always be a real, boldly confident, and thoroughly authentic man. Are you authentic? That's what I'm going to discuss today in my Patreon exclusive portion. Happy holidays.